Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into the Big Friday Kickoff Podcast. I'm Emily Cochran. He's Robert Restano. And the 2025 high school football season has officially come to an end. I can't believe that it's over. All the hard work that we've put in for the last 15 weeks. I mean, we sent our 4 teams off to the Super 7, and some won, some lost. I mean, it's just it absolutely flew by. But we got to talk about these state championship games.
Yeah, and not just all the hard work that we put into covering this season, all the hard work all these athletes put in for the season, to kind of make it through. And in the end, we had 4 with a chance to win a state championship, and well, I guess we'll get into it. We didn't come home with as many as we would like, but
there were some surprises out there, I would say so, for sure. Not even the fact that some of these teams lost, but the way they lost.
Yeah,
it was just a little surprising. So let me kind of just break down how this episode is going to go. We're going to kind of recap the Super 7, our 4 teams that went each of those 4 games. And then Nicholas Herboso is going to join us later on to talk a little bit about each Big Friday Kickoff location, the highs, the lows, our favorite places that we went, kind of to put a bow on things. And then towards the end, we'll talk a little bit about some coaching vacancies. And then the biggest news, I think, going on this week, Phillip Rivers signing with the Colts and probably going to, play with them throughout the remainder of their season. So a lot of cool stuff going on in our area and up there in Indy. So we'll get into all that. But first, let's break down these 4 games in the Super 7. Let's start in 6A with Saraland and Clay Chalkville.
Yeah, so this was, this game kind of encapsulates a theme that I think affected all the teams that we sent up there and lost, which was it felt like we just lost the battle of the trenches in this one. Saraland lost to Clay Chalkville 38-21. Clay Chalkville ran the ball 32 times for 279 yards. Like, really just – and we were watching this game. It felt like every time Aaron Fry, that quarterback, took off, I mean, he was getting 10 yards every single carry. Saraland had some life in this one. Jameson Roberts had a pretty good game for the most part, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. But, yeah, I mean, to me, it was just that Clay Chalkville defense was after him all game,
They were physical.
Yeah.
Clay Chalkville was very, very physical in this game. I mean, you could just – and we even saw it when the guys were taking the field. We're like, dang, there's some big boys, and they look, like, angry and ready to play.
Yep.
We knew that's how this game was going to go. We knew this was going to be a physical game. I think that Clay Chalkville just won the battle in physicality and just the way they approached this one early on.
Yeah, and, just looking at this one here, they had 6 sacks in this game,
Yeah.
And that was something, I think, actually, at halftime, they had 5, maybe, if I remember right. So, yeah, I thought Saraland played a little bit better in the second half. But, yeah, they got down early, and Clay Chalkville was just the more physical team up front. And so Saraland, for the 3rd straight year, is runner-up. But I think the future is still, I mean, it's always bright for them, I mean, they'll lose to Sean Spencer, but Jameson Roberts will be back, and I'm sure that they've got more receivers in the wings that'll step up and break through next year for them. But
it always happens that way.
It does.
I mean, when Ryan Williams went off to Alabama, I mean, Deshaun Spencer was the next guy in line.
Well,
and now
C.D. Gill, too.
Exactly, C.D. Gill and Deshaun Spencer now moving on to go stay in state and play at Auburn. So, yeah, what's it going to look like for Saraland next season? Who's going to be that breakout receiver? Because they're notorious for always having a guy or two that just stands out and is a superstar. Who's going to be that guy next year? I mean, Saraland, we know how talented they are. I do not see them being a team that falls off by any means.
No.
And then I think, is PJ still going to be there? Is he just a...
No, he's a senior.
He is a senior.
Yep.
So who's going to be that? Because the same thing when Sante McWilliams graduated, PJ came in, and now that PJ is going to be gone, who's going to be the guy at running back this year? But they're going to still have their quarterback, which I think is extremely important for that continuity for next season. But I don't see Saraland falling off. Jeff Kelly always finds a way.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if they're in this position again next season, hopefully they're coming away with the blue map and not the red map. But you got to think that's disappointing.
Oh, yeah.
You've gone to the state title game every year since 2022.
Yep.
You win it in 2022, you lose in 2023, you lose in 2024, now you lose here in 2025. And this one wasn't even like a close game.
The score is oddly a little closer than I think the game showed. I mean, Saraland, they put up 21, lost by 17, but I think for most of that game, Clay Chalkville was pretty much in control. I mean,
Clay Chalkville also had possession of the ball for
right.
a larger chunk of the time than
yep.
Saraland did. And we talked about this too. Throughout the season, Saraland's been a team that's taken a little longer to heat up.
Yep.
And when we were talking about it at halftime, we're like, okay, maybe it's just like they're going to come out in the second half and really get the wheels turning. I mean, they had some signs of life late in the first half when they finally got that touchdown with Deshaun Spencer. So we thought, okay, second half, like they're turned on now, like they're going to come in and guns blazing, but not exactly
right.
the case, and just a disappointing loss up there in the 6A state championship game. I mean, those kids, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the emotions and everything you go through, you work hard all season and you've just got it, like we're going to win, and then it did not play out that way
no.
on the field.
Yeah, so Saraland, you're runner-up for the third straight year. I guess we can go ahead and move on to another pretty disappointing game down here in 5A.
This one surprised to me. This one surprised me even more.
Yes, and there's been a lot of drama around this game with cigars in the locker room. I think it's St. Clair County. Their superintendent released a statement yesterday about this whole situation and discipline. Well, whatever. Yeah, blah 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 blah. But that was a butt kicking by Moody on Viger.
Yeah, Viger did not get a single point on the board. 25-0 was your final in this one. Viger just could not get anything going on offense.
Nope.
And I don't think that their defense played badly. I mean,
right.
But it's really, it's really hard to keep up as a defense when your offense can't get any points on the board.
I know.
This was just a really, really difficult game for the Wolves. I mean, Moody is just, you can tell they're a talented team.
Yes.
Extremely talented. That's a good team. You could understand how they ended up at this point.
And this was pretty similar to Saraland, where, Moody ran the ball for 277 yards in this game, and it just felt like on both sides of the ball they were after Sammy Dunn all game. Viger couldn't get anything going on the ground, and Moody just lined up and ran the ball down their throats. I mean,
they came out and hit him in the mouth.
I know.
I mean, it was just from the jump. Moody came out there, and it was just, they were also just, to me, more physical.
Yep.
And that's the thing is, games like that, like it really is whoever comes out with the most energy and who's the most physical, and you felt that. You felt that energy. I mean, I know we're just watching through a TV screen,
yep.
but just from watching, like you could tell Moody came out and they meant business. And part of me thinks that like Viger just wasn't prepared for that.
Right.
Maybe they didn't expect that. I don't know. That was that out of all the games to watch, that one was tough.
I didn't think that our teams from the South would be out physicaled in the trenches the way that they were, but they were. I mean, both pretty much every loss that the South took up there came down to the trenches, and that was tough for Viger. Obviously, being state runner up is no small feat or what have you, but. Yeah, that was just a tough way to go out. I mean, I kind of thought Viger was going to be, the favorite in that game, and then Moody just...
I did too. I mean, but also just huge accomplishment for Renardo Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
First year as a head coach, and then also, the Wolves made it farther than they did the season before, which is, you want to get better and better each season, but to get right there on the cusp of a state title and then lose in the state championship game, I mean, I know those kids were extremely disappointed after that loss. I mean, any of these teams that lose in the state championship game are obviously disappointed, but to not put a single point on the board, that is something I did not expect. Not from Sammy Dunn, not from Dylan Jackson, not from any of those guys.
It makes you wonder if, had Williamson made it, would that have been a different game?
Yeah, what would that game have looked like?
Yeah.
It's interesting because also Williamson has one of the top defenses in the state across all classifications. Like,
Yep.
you just wonder, like, what kind of game that would have looked like.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. So the Wolves bringing home the red map down there in 5A. And again, we talk about, what they'll look like next year. A lot of that defense will be back. Jabari Scare, Isaac McNeil, all those guys. But we don't know what reclassification is going to look like. And we'll get more into that throughout this upcoming year, I guess, as we get closer to the reclassification period. But I don't expect Viger to move anywhere. Saraland, if they moved anywhere, I guess it would be to 7A. I don't know if that would happen or not. I've seen there's all kinds of speculation online about who's moving where, but
yeah, the rumors are flying right now.
So, it'll be interesting to see. But the Viger defense will bring a lot back. That offense is going to have to replace a lot with Sammy Dunn and those guys leaving. So, we shall see when it comes to Viger. I guess the one bright spot for our South teams down here, the Jackson Aggies absolutely dominated Anniston.
I tell you what, and this is the thing, because I when we did our game preview on these two teams, I just remember looking back at the Anniston highlights, and I was so confused.
Yeah.
And no disrespect, it's just like, I didn't even understand how they made it this far.
Yeah.
And no shade whatsoever. It's just they didn't put up a fight.
No, they couldn't hold up.
And another thing, like, if St. Michael had beaten Jackson and St. Michael had been in this game, St. Michael would have beaten Anniston too.
Yep.
Honestly, you give me W.S. Neal, you give me Mobile Christian, you give me, like, there's a lot of our 4A teams that I think could have made it to that point and defeated this Anniston team.
Yep.
I just didn't think there was even a competition, like, at all. And Jackson looked like the Jackson of last year's state championship game. I mean, E.J. Crowell put on an absolute show, and I think that Landon Duckworth had an incredible game. I mean, Jackson looked like the Jackson we remember.
Yep.
And we talked about this. I think Jackson really did just get hot at the exact right time, and they went out there and they went to play 52-0 was the final in this game. Incredible performance by the Jackson Aggies. They're your 4A state champions. They go back-to-back for the first time in program history.
Yep.
And just congratulations to the Aggies and Coach Flo and these guys. I mean, way to put a bow on this season. And I'll say it, I feel like I was a doubter at different points, and I feel bad for doing that. Like, apologies to Jackson.
Yeah,
no
doubt.
We thought that it was going to be St. Michael in this game,
right?
And for them to get that win over St. Michael in the semifinals and advance to this game is just huge. And for them to turn things around from that loss against St. Michael, and they got one of the Chapman brothers back at receiver, which was such a big help, and just what a game, what a way to cap off this season. I just see, wow.
Yeah,
like, I really was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and, we kind of thought, a lot of people thought that the state champion, the real state championship game was the St. Michael Jackson game, that whoever won that would go on to win the state championship. And, in this game, it was the E.J. Crowell show, and we've been talking about for weeks how his amount of carries has been, like, relatively low throughout the year, and we had been saying the last couple weeks that you just feel like there's going to be a game where they hand him the ball 25 times and are like, just go dominate. And I mean, that's exactly what they did. I mean,
he was trying to break that record.
He was
chasing the rushing record for the state, and I think he did. He ended up breaking it.
I know he got it I know he got the title game record.
Yeah, and he was MVP of that game.
MVP, right? Yeah, 25 carries, 304 yards, 5 touchdowns. Landon only threw the ball 6 times, for 75 yards and a touchdown. So, this was a game where,
but Landon didn't turn the ball over at all, which I think is very good, because there were games throughout the season where he was turning the ball over a few times, and he didn't do that at all in this game, which I think was also another very important.
Right.
They were very disciplined in this game.
Yes, no doubt. And this was one where, we were talking about with Viger and Saraland, how Moody and Clay Chalkville kind of owned the battle in the trenches. This was one where Jackson looked like a 5A team playing a 4A team. There was just Anniston couldn't do anything. I think Jackson had 6 sacks in this game, forced 3 fumbles. So, yeah, they were all over this team from the jump. So, yeah, congratulations to the Jackson Aggies, back-to-back state champions.
I think that they're going to have some form of a celebration.
I would assume so.
I think they're having a fish fry.
Oh, are they?
Did I see that?
That sounds like something they would do.
Honestly, and I'm hopefully I'm going to go out there. I'm excited. I hope I haven't missed that already. Now I'm thinking of the email that Steve sent me about them having a fish fry. I hope they haven't already done it and I haven't missed it.
Yeah, that would be fish fry would be awesome.
What kind of fish? That's what I'm wondering. Let me look it up. Let me see if Steve.
What do they got up there? Catfish?
Fish fry celebration, Jackson High, the 17th.
Oh, there you go. So next Wednesday.
Oh, goodness. Same day as the 68 Ventures Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to double check and see what time this starts. But doesn't that not 1:30? Oh, I can make it.
Yeah, you can get there.
Yeah, 1:30 at Jackson High School, fish fry celebration. They had one more fish to fry. Who's bringing the vegetable oil? I love it. I don't know if y'all can see this graphic, but there's also there's a little fish with some fire. I love it. That is so good. That is so good. So yeah, congratulations to the Jackson Aggies. I mean, that's just to go back to back. It's just that's a heck of an accomplishment. Yep. You know what I mean? So congratulations to those guys.
And congratulations to Landon and EJ and the Chapman brothers and Jamarian Gordon and all the seniors that are on this Jackson team. There's a ton on the defense that have been staples for them. This is a very talented and special group that Jackson had all at the same time, and one of the more talented teams you'll see in high school football, especially for a town as small as Jackson, and their fans care so much about this football program. So congratulations to them. We've had a blast covering Landon and EJ and all these guys. So
Landon's our reigning player of the year.
That's right.
For last year. And then EJ, of course, is a very high contender for our potential player of the year this year. I mean, just the talent that comes out of Jackson. I mean, it's just this could be a year where not only they have back-to-back state championships, but we have kids from Jackson go back-to-back in our Player of the Year awards, which I don't think we've ever had before.
Could be.
So it just the possibility of that is just so cool. And covering Jackson has been so much fun.
Yeah,
I love those guys, that coaching staff, Coach Flo. Super happy for him. I mean, they're just good old country boys. Yeah. They really are just homegrown, good old country boys. And all those kids grew up, going to Jackson. And I'm trying to think what Coach Flo said. A lot of these kids that he coached, started in their, their little kids, football program, whether it be Pee Wee or what exactly it is and how they do it up there. But I'm pretty sure that they said that this was something a promise they made seven years ago. Someone told Coach Flo, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it with that team. And then to go back to back with this group of guys that started playing there at such a young age, I mean, that's just so cool to see that come to fruition. Just a full circle moment for that program. Super happy for them. I mean, I really do it. For their season, when they had that loss to St. Michael to turn around and then beat them in the semifinals and win the state championship game, it's just you couldn't have written it up better.
No.
It's almost cooler than last season because, I mean, they how last season went to still win it. It's just cooler because they silenced any doubters.
Right, exactly.
And EJ, I mean, wow. What, that kid, I mean, I've said it, and it still has not changed. That is a grown man playing with high school kids.
No doubt.
I mean, even in the highlights, the way that he's just it's almost like he's just swatting flies, just
know,
swatting them little kids. And I hate it for those little Aniston kids, but that you can't bring that kid down.
Yeah.
So heck of a season. Congratulations to the Jackson Aggies.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll be talking about Jackson quite a bit in the off season and once we get through Player of the Year and all region teams and things like that. So
because who's going to be there? I mean, they're going to have a lot of kids graduate this year.
No doubt. There's
going to be a lot of turnover for them talent-wise. So it's going to kind of be a rebuilding period for them. And who's going to be the starting quarterback next year? Who's going to be, the guy taking all the carry, running back, you know what I mean? So, just what is this Jackson team going to look like next year? Can they go back to back to back?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting to watch, and we'll keep following along with them during the off season for sure.
Yeah, so our last team that we had up there in the Super 7, Bayside Academy, one of the closer games.
It was very close for a majority of this game.
I mean, the final, Mars Hill beat Bayside 38-21. I don't think that's totally indicative of how this game was played. It was 14-17 going into the fourth quarter. Mars Hill, I mean, they ran the ball for almost 400 yards, and yet Bayside still was hanging in there. Davis Barnett, I thought he had a pretty good game in this one. Bayside couldn't run the ball. I mean, this was another game where our South teams just kind of got dominated in the trenches, but the Bayside passing attack was able to make up for some of that and keep this game relatively close. I think the future's pretty bright for Bayside. I mean, they lose some key players on their defense, but they'll have Walker Collins back. They'll have Davis Barnett back. It'll be interesting to see what they do at the running back position because I think Yamani is a senior. But I mean, those two running backs for Mars Hill, Jackson Pitt, and Hudson Higgins, like they just had a day. I mean, both of them nearly rushed for 200 yards. And yeah, it was just Bayside just could not stop those two guys on the ground.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter, I mean, they pretty much put the nail in the coffin.
They did.
With what they scored 3 touchdowns.
In the fourth quarter. Yeah.
I mean, how do you think it's just like it got to the end of the game and Bayside was just tired and run down?
I think it's tough to play a team that they ran the ball 49 times, and I think by the time you get to the fourth quarter, that's going to be wearing on somebody, whether it's the offensive line or defensive line. I think Bayside's defense just got wore down by that rushing attack by the end of it.
Yeah, still a historic season for Bayside. I mean, that's the farthest that they've ever gotten as far as the playoffs go, and shout out to Barrett Trotter. I mean, this program is he's taken this and really put his own stamp on it,
right.
Kind of been building and building and building, and just such a great season for the Admirals. I mean, to even get to this point, and I can't think of another time when we've had 2 games in the finals where the scores have been the exact same.
Right,
like Saraland lost 38-21, Bayside also lost 38-21.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty interesting, but I mean, I think it was just cool for Bayside because I don't know if at the beginning of the season if we were like, oh, yeah, Bayside's going to be, potentially in the state championship game. I mean, we were talking about other teams. So Bayside just got better and better every single game throughout the season. A lot of talent on that team. I think defense has really been just the name of the game for them in a lot of these situations. And it just to get all the way to this point is even just a feat even in itself. So I hate that they lost because it was so close for the vast majority of that game. Just shout out to Bayside for a heck of a season. And I don't think this is the end of the story for Bayside. I know they do have a lot of guys graduating. Going to be a lot of turnover during the off season, but I can imagine that Barrett Trotter's going to try and pick up where they left off.
Yeah, and they do bring – I mean, they bring a decent amount of guys back that sort of filled out the trenches for them on offense and defense, like along the lines and things like that. I mean, losing Monroe Parton and Billy Neal.
Is Noah Kane still going to be there?
No.
Or is he a senior?
He's a
Noah
senior.
Kane and Brendan Yamani. Like all these names that we've talked about, week after week. I feel like for a lot of these teams, like every single one of these teams that we're talking about are going to lose a lot of these guys this season. They're pretty a veteran-heavy team, I would say. So going to be a lot of turnover during the off season. So going to be interesting to see like where Bayside falls, going into next year. And also, like we said, with all these rumors of the reclassification, like is Bayside going to move back up to 4A? Do they stay in 3A? What's that going to look like?
Yeah.
That's another part of the story we're going to have to keep an eye on is like who's going to be sitting where, because they could be playing a completely different batch of teams in a completely different class. So that'll be really interesting going into next season.
Yeah, no doubt. But like I said, and like you said, the future's bright for Bayside with Davis Barnett.
Only a sophomore.
Yeah, bringing his top receiver back, Cade Lyons, who got some run at running back. I think he could take that job over. And like I said, a lot of guys on the offensive and defensive line will be back. So I think Bayside's in good shape next year. But yeah, they hung in there more than people thought they would against this Mars Hill team. I mean, this Mars Hill team had steamrolled everybody they played, and you've got them 17-14 going into the fourth quarter. That's about as good as you could ask for in a game like that. And so, Yeah, and Mars Hill is a team that seems almost certain to move up a classification because of how dominant they were. So, you basically did that against a 4A team. So, Bayside should feel good about that. But yeah, so all in all, we went 1-3. Not the best record, not exactly what you would want, right? No, we won 1, lost 3.
Yeah, so that would mean you went 1-4.
Well, no, you don't put the total amount of games in the second line. You put your losses in the second line.
Wow, that was a very blonde moment out of me. Whoa, dude. Yeah, that was a very blonde moment out of me.
You don't say like 6-12 if you won 6 out of 12 games. You would say 6-6.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We had 4 games. You won 1, lost 3. So
yeah, like I said, very, very blonde moment out of me. It's been a long season, extremely long season.
No doubt.
Sad that it's over, but also nice to take a deep breath, to get a little bit of zen, if that's even a thing in this business, because I don't know if it is.
Right.
But yeah, it's just now that we head into the off season, just all the changes. I mean, reclassification. There's a ton of coaching vacancies right now that we're gonna have to keep an eye on over the next few weeks. So even though the season's over,
and more probably coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, 100%. Because I mean, these are just teams that didn't even make it to the postseason that are already making coaching changes. You've got to think there's definitely some more coming. So yeah, to me, since I've been here and since we've been here, I think this off season could be the biggest changes that we see for all these teams. What could be interesting is if Saraland moves to 7A, and then Bayside moves back to 4A, and then does Jackson move? Does Jackson go up to 5A?
Does St. Paul's move? I mean,
what is that going to look like? We've got 5 head coaching vacancies just down here in Region 1. We've got Sweetwater, LaFleur, Theodore. Well, Theodore is one of the biggest, I think, available jobs right now. And then you've also got Foley and Blunt. So it's going to be interesting to see who fills these positions. Hopefully, you would think that they're going to have to make some decisions here in the coming weeks because, I know the season's over, but, the off season is really – you want to get somebody in there ASAP because one thing we also have to consider is, kids transfer nowadays with the way that it is in the high school world. It's looking more and more like college and NFL every day. You don't know what these teams could look completely different next season because you also, let's say a new head coach goes to Theodore. Are those kids going to like that head coach? Are they going to want to transfer, go somewhere else? What's that going to look like? So I think that's an interesting thing that we're going to be keeping an eye on and following along with throughout the off season because this podcast does not stop.
No, we will keep it going.
No, we're going to keep this thing going, keeping an eye on who's going where, from coaches to players and this, that, and the other. So
yeah, and real quick, and we'll bring Nicholas in here in just a second. I just wanted to give one shout out to a head coach that stepped down. Sweetwater's Pat Thompson stepped down. He had been there since 2013, won over 100 games at Sweetwater. And 2 state titles. This was the first year they had missed the playoffs since 2001, but he had put a lot of time in there. We really only talk about Sweetwater because they're in Region 1. They're not really in our viewing area. But, just because they are in Region 1, we've had to sort of brush up on their history and who they are. And so that is that's a big retirement for a traditional power down in 1A. So he earned his retirement, 2 state titles, but that'll be a big job to watch here in the offseason because they are traditionally one of the best 1A teams in the state. So we will cover all that as those developments continue to happen. But for now, I guess should we go ahead and bring the one and only meteorologist extraordinaire Nicholas Herboso in here?
Yeah, I think we absolutely should. I think y'all are really going to enjoy this because it's always just me and Robert in here. This is going to be more of talking about Big Friday Kickoff, the locations that we went to, the highs and lows of the season in that aspect. Because we talk so much about the games, but when we get to go out and interact with these communities, I think that's so special. So let's go grab Nick and bring him in, and let's talk about some more Big Friday Kickoff. Well, y'all, you've seen him on your TV screens bringing you the weather. You've seen him joining me on Fridays for Big Friday Kickoff. Now you get to see him here on the podcast with me and Robert. It's the one and only meteorologist, Nicholas Herboso. Nick has been my right-hand man when Robert's here. Nick is with me out in the field, and we've had a blast every single week that we've gone out to each of these locations for Big Friday Kickoff. So, Nick, this is the first year you and I got to do this, and it was so much fun.
I loved doing this. I mean, I seriously loved it. I'm a meteorologist. The weather, I'm locked in a studio all day. And yeah, I kind of give some background information to viewers on this. Like, there was a push to get us meteorologists and stuff outside more. And I've had a history with marching band since I started high school. Marching band's is my thing. And I did it, I did marching band through high school. I did drum corps, which is like the elite marching bands, like fancy marching band. I did that, so I've been involved in that world for so long. I have an understanding of football because of marching band. I don't understand it great, trust me. Trust me, I learned a lot.
We did a lot of studying throughout the week.
We had 4-hour meetings every Tuesday telling Nick exactly what was going on.
But I'll tell you, it was such an experience, and I feel so much more connected to this game and this region because of it. But it was an initiative to get me out there a little more, to get us out there, and this was just the perfect way for us to tick that box and get more of a presence from the weather team and all that stuff out there.
I think it also helps so much with like the band part of it,
Yes.
because you have that connection to the bands and you being able to communicate with them. Like, you know the setup and how that works better than we do because you've done it pretty much all of your life. And I think that was so cool, and just the emphasis that we really put on Band of the Week this year I think was so much better and done so well because of your passion for it. So I think that was a really cool aspect about this season.
Well, and you know, you did a great job with Band of the Week too. That's the other thing. Like, that was probably our most engaged with segment on the show that we would post online afterwards. I mean, we always clipped our interviews and always clipped Band of the Week, and then, you know, we would have late highlights and things like that. And when I would come in on Saturdays and see what people had clicked on the most, it wasn't Game of the Week, it wasn't highlights, it was Band. Band was always the thing that got the most clicks. So it was definitely something that was important, and it's a tailgate style show, so you want to have a little bit more fun is, I guess, the word to it, but
it's showing all sides of what goes into a Friday night.
Band is a huge part of Friday night.
A huge part. You know? I can't imagine a Friday night without a band in the stands.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
I think it's about, like, every single time, and you can attest to this, every single time we had the band out there, I lit up. Because I was like, yes, I get to be with my people.
Yeah,
and
you got to conduct them out at Fairhope.
Yes,
so,
I was able to actually get the opportunity to connect multiple groups throughout the season, or at least play conduct with them. And it's just so fun. And the reason I think it does so well is, of course, all the football team parents and stuff, they're all there. They're super involved, too, and they're looking out for their kids. But you've got a whole nother set of numbers that is looking for the band. You look at band numbers versus football team numbers, a lot of times the bands are huge.
Yeah.
And some of our bands, especially
like
in
6A,
Mobile,
7A,
7A schools, they are massive. There's a lot of parents, so that's why. And there are people that just have a genuine love for it. And it really does create something, you're right, on a Friday night. And it's just great. You know, I actually saw very recently, thinking about college football, Kirby Smart, when they won the national championship, that interview where he shouted out the band.
Yeah, and they went crazy.
Yes.
I was there, so like...
Yes, you were there.
They were like, that band is top notch,
Yes.
but they deserve their flowers, and Kirby Smart definitely gave them their flowers.
you saw on my social media page, I saw that as the only video I saw for like a little while because it was so important to get that recognition. And I was talking about band now. I have to talk about cheer as well because cheer is another thing. It's extremely competitive. And that's one thing. Band is also a competitive thing. Cheer is a competitive thing. It is something that they love. I've loved talking to some of the cheer coaches and getting to know them because of what their teams are doing and to add to the atmosphere, to teach a skill and to teach these students something that they can be a part of that's bigger than themselves. That is such a great opportunity, and so many other aspects of the folks that are present on Friday nights. It's just such a good learning thing for everybody, and it creates experiences. When I am in Fairhope and I'm doing marching band stuff, one of the biggest things I try to think about is, and this goes for every division of football, any sport, any school-related activity, we want to create an experience for the students. I want them to think back on our rehearsals. I want them to think back on Friday nights and remember it and be like, wow, that was just an incredible night. Because that's what I think back to when I did it. And now being on the other side and watching all of this, watching all of these moments go down with y'all and just being there at the games on Fridays, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it to death. There's so much heart in it.
Well, and I think that's one of the, that's one of the main reasons we wanted to do a show in this style is to, capture those Friday nights like what you're talking about and really put you two out there in the middle of it and play off of all of the pageantry and the everything that goes into a Friday night, whether it's cheer, band, dance, the players, the coaches,
the mascots,
the tailgates.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that we wanted to highlight with Big Friday Kickoff, and being your first year kind of co-hosting it, you did a great job. You fit the vibe that we want out there for these Friday night tailgates, things like that. So and you get it, and it's cool to see that you really kind of fell in love with it throughout the season. And there were, our very last week we didn't even have a show scheduled, and you were like, no, let's go out to St. Michael. They were like the closest home team we had that week, basically.
We did it by ourselves.
And y'all did it by yourselves, and it was mostly okay. We had some technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. I didn't know that if I bumped the camera, if I bumped the camera a certain way. Listen, you gotta understand. I do not hold a camera. No. I do not. This is my camera. I do not hold a camera, so I have never. I just don't operate. That was so funny, but. I had fun. It was St. Michael too, and that team is awesome, and that environment was awesome.
And Jackson coming in. You and I were there at 5 o'clock, and the stands were already full.
The people were
Jackson's
flooding
side.
in. And it
was cold.
Yes.
We were shocked by how many people truthfully traveled and showed out for that game, given the weather being what it was that day.
Yeah, and it was just a great experience just to be out there, even though it didn't go perfectly that last time. I remember exiting because we left at what time? What time did we leave?
We probably got out of there at 6:15 because I had to go shoot the Bayside game.
And I was coming back because I believe it was the end of my day or something. But I left and you pulled out first, but then I stopped and I asked one of the parking attendants, and I was like, "Is it always like this?" And he said, this is critical. This is insane.
Yeah, right.
Because there were people in St. Michael, their campus, off of 181 and 104. That is literally one of the most beautiful parts of Baldwin County. You've got that beautiful St. Michael Way Road. People were parking all the way to where the cows were.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Insane. I've never, because we were just there for the first round of the playoffs.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, it was hectic when we were trying to get out of there. But that night, you and I following each other, trying to just get out of there when everybody else was coming in. People are walking. That was crazy.
Yes, and
that was crazy.
But it was, you could tell that so many people cared about what was going on, and that was cool to see.
Yeah,
that was cool to see.
We had a blast, and that was kind of how we ended the season. I want to take a look back at kind of how we started the season. You and I's very first show together, we went out to UMS Wright and had an absolute blast out there. That first year head coach
Sam Wright.
Sam Williams.
Sam Williams, I'm sorry.
Sam Williams.
Yes, we
Sam
remember all
Williams
this.
at UMS Wright. And that was our first show. That was our first, kicking things off doing this. What was running through your head that week? You doing this, I mean, you've been live and you've been in the field, but to be a part of a football show, this being your very first episode, what was kind of running through your head that week if you look back?
So I'm looking at my phone because I have the notes from. So what let me explain this.
Yeah,
yes.
we should explain
we
to
need to
people our
explain this.
weekly meetings because we have gotten made fun of all year for these weekly meetings.
Yes.
But go ahead, Nick.
So we said very early on, if we're doing this and if I'm going to be a part of it, because I am not involved in the sports department, I need to have a meeting with y'all where we go over everything, make sure the show is locked down, make sure everything is locked down, and I make sure I develop an understanding of the show. So we scheduled it for 3:30-ish after I finished the 3 p.m. show. And for those that, I moved my work schedule around for the show. I changed my off days to it was completely.
You didn't have consecutive off days.
No, I didn't have consecutive because we wanted to make this work, and we also wanted to make it work to where I could also be involved with marching band, which was an awesome thing, and I'm so glad that we were able to do that. But we get to these meetings on Wednesdays, start them at 3:30. Sometimes we would go to 6 something because. First of all, we are planning. Okay, we have these many the select number of hits. We have the select amount of time. What are we going to use to fill that time? We had a concept. We always had a concept of what it would be, but there was a need to make it organized and streamlined. If you watch Big Friday Kickoff, you saw our clipboards. Those clipboards had this rundown on it, and it is written out. On camera, welcome to Big Friday Kickoff, week 1. It's week 1 of high school football on the Gulf Coast. I mean, written out, and there's facts on this sheet. We would sit in there, and Robert, you would just spit numbers, and I'd be like, wait, say it again. I am frantically typing, and then Emily would go on these tangents, and I'm like, I am not a fast typer. I am really not a fast typer, and I'm trying my best to keep it up. But then we take this huge document and cleaned it up, and it really gave us a good rundown. And I think it kept us sane throughout the season. But those meetings were so fun because it gave us time as a team to work with each other. And I have always thought that whenever you're doing a show like this, you need to have a good relationship with the people you're working with. And we already had that, but we built that even more. Yeah. And it made this so fun. I mean, every time we came into those meetings, it was a chill out moment for us.
It was nice to have the opportunity to also for you and I to build chemistry for on camera, because I think that's the things people don't realize. You and I before that had not we don't talk and see each other, but we work in completely different areas. And when you just throw two people together and you're like, okay, go put on a show, it's how's this going to work? What's the dynamic going to be? How are we going to do this? And I think those meetings helped us each week really build our chemistry on camera, and we all got closer, and we all knew we could rely on each other, and when anyone was having a bad day, it was it's okay because you got the other two, we're gonna pick up when you're down, because I definitely had my days.
Yeah, no, and I had my days too. I try to be kind of all stone faced and cold, but I can't there were some days where I was like, gosh, I am frustrated about this.
Yeah.
There were some broken clipboards and some yelling and
some tears.
There was one broken clipboard, but I forget why.
It was you left your AirPods here.
I left my AirPods. I don't like making those mistakes,
Yeah.
and that was a rookie one. But still, out of all of it, and you're right, we handled each other very well, all three of us.
Yeah.
And to get this production rolling, and we just all had a passion for it. We all enjoyed putting it together, and I think that's what made it good on TV.
Well, and it helps too because this was an idea that me and Emily had 3 years ago at this point, 2 years ago.
We were fresh, still wet behind the ears,
hadn't
green.
even been here a year, and they let us do it. And first year it was okay, whatever. I didn't know how to produce. It was you.
I think before I started doing, because back then it was called High School Game Day, because we're really playing it off college game day. That's what we wanted. We thought if they're doing this at the college level, we have such a big. The talent down here and the schools down here and how much they love high school football.
Right.
We were like, we can do this at the high school level. And so we tried it. But up to that point, I don't think I had done more than maybe 3 live shots.
Yeah, you weren't
I was
used,
still very green.
You weren't used to being live. I didn't know how to produce. And then our next year, we kind of had it figured out a little bit, but there were planning things, and we were trying some bigger stuff, and you were involved last year,
yes.
But in a much smaller role. And so I think this year we kind of just looked back at the previous 2 seasons and we're like, what were the things that worked? Like, weather is good, band is good, player interviews are good. We'll fill out the stuff around it. And, me and Emily had become so comfortable with it that you bring in someone who is an expert planner and wants everything planned out, precisely.
I will not let you go without a plan.
Yes.
So detail-oriented.
But
which we tried to be, but
you and
Nick
I,
is a different beast.
You and I are also like, yeah, we'll get out there and figure it out.
We're very much like fly by the seat of our
And
pants.
I would go, no, we can't figure it out. We've got to write something down.
No, because I would tell Nick, I would be like, well, you just you'll tee it up and I'll just ad-lib.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel bad because there are a lot of the times, he's when we're sitting there and there's video, he's kind of lifting the clipboard up a little closer and I'm just off on a tangent talking about this kid and how many yards he rushed for and whatever, and Nick's like, stay on track.
Because when you're in the heat of the moment, it is hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you want to get all the information that you can out there.
And there were so many times where we were like, gosh, we missed this. Gosh, we missed this. But still, we still delivered so much stuff.
Yeah.
Because
also
we
in the
were so
confines
prepped.
of 5 minutes?
Yes, and
that's all we get. And that's something that we'd like to expand on, But it was like, okay, you need to fit this much content into this little box. And I think we did that to the best of our ability.
And that was the other good thing. I know from my end, I have to keep you all on track and on time and get us in and out of things. And
I've got a story for that later.
yeah,
Oh, gosh.
it would help. It helped so much just having bullet points of what you all wanted to talk about, to know that, okay, you all have 2 minutes to talk about this. Okay, they're at a minute 45, but there's 3 more really good points that I think that they're about to talk about. We can let this go another 15, 20 seconds, but it's because I know what's coming up. Whereas in the past, we never had scripts, right? We would just be talk about these teams right here. And then it's whatever it is you're going to talk. And I'm having to cut you off awkwardly to end it. So having just those bullet points, which is what you would send out every week after our meetings, was so much helpful that, we didn't have in the last couple seasons also.
Yeah.
So
we also I feel like we were building a full rundown before, and it was almost too much. This was more of a bulleted list. We had information, but it was more flexible of we can do this here, we can do this, and let's add this tidbit here. It was just more, I don't even know how to describe it.
It was very streamlined.
Because we also had moments where things did not go according to the plan. I mean, there were times where we're standing there and a hit's coming and the players aren't coming out of the locker room yet. I mean, we've gone to schools, like there's a kid in the locker room and part of his pregame routine is like being in the locker room and praying. And like he was in the locker room doing that. We came up on time and like he was still in the locker room doing that. And we're like, holy crap, we're coming up on our hit time. Like, is he going to make it out? And the kids are sprinting out across the field and we're counting down like 30 seconds.
What was that? That was that.
Mobile Christian.
That was that Mobile Christian. I'm so sorry to those guys, but I was like.
Yes. Well, look, we've done, but that's not just Mobile Christian to single them out or anything. Like we've had that at other schools.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
We've had it with coaches. Like when we were at Fairhope, Tim Carter was running across the field to come be live with us.
Yep.
And then when we were at Baker, we wanted to have both head coaches. Eric and Derek Scott, and we got to the end of the Eric Scott interview at Baker, and Derek had just gotten there, and we kind of just pulled him in, and they're counting us down in our ear like. You need to wrap.
We started weather.
It was weather, and there was like a little thing. I was like, I need to get him in here because I was like, okay, we got to do something.
Yep.
And I literally just grabbed him and pulled him in. I was like, come on, coach.
I remember. Okay, now here's the thing with weather. I can talk for as long or as little as needed, and that's the awesome thing about weather is that I can do whatever I need to. It can be 20 seconds. It can be a minute. It can be 3 minutes, and. That was one thing, and you said we were kind of adjustable. We used that to our advantage of like, okay, this is going really well. We're going to shorten weather and go, and we would just kind of read each other's minds on it.
We just picked up on the vibes of like what was going on. I hate to use that term, but
it
really did.
It makes it fun. It makes the production a little bit more lively, and it's just
and the best way to navigate live stuff like this is with feel. You know, when you're on our end of it, where you're having to host it and I'm having to produce it, the best way to know what's good is you'll feel it.
And we're also trying to balance of because what it feels like to us might be different than what the viewer is feeling. Because like we're looking at it through, we're very like, oh my God, they don't know this, but this went bad. Like we're looking at it through a more critical lens, I think, than what the average viewer is looking at, which I think was also a really cool thing about it is so many people that were plugged into this part of the show that didn't even care about sports that like were impressed by what we were doing, and I think that's so cool. The thing about it is having so many different opinions. This show was for everybody. It wasn't just for the sports person. It wasn't just for the cheer or the band or anything. This show was for everybody, and I think that was a really cool thing we were able to do throughout the season is make this show for everyone, because who doesn't love Friday Night Lights and getting fired up for a high school game? And some of these like very small towns that like shut down and their only focus is their team, and we had a lot of Friday nights like that as well.
Yeah, I think we talked very briefly about week one.
Should we move through the weeks?
Week one was kind of getting our feet under us.
No doubt.
And
but we had some cool things to talk about. That was Chaos on Grass.
Yes, Chaos on Grass.
Which was a concept when we were doing our meetings of like, that just sounds cool. It makes sense. It's something people can understand, and it's a cool story. And we found all these storylines that were just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Terry Curtis retiring, Sam Williams coming in and taking over a program that's like there's been one person at the helm for almost 3 decades. I mean, to come over and have to take over, that's almost like you're the man. It's like Kalen DeBoer after Nick Saban.
Yeah.
That's what Sam Williams was after Terry Curtis. I mean, Terry Curtis was the second winningest coach in Alabama high school football history.
Yep.
You got Sam Williams coming over from Brandon, Mississippi. Shout out Mississippi. Whoop! That was like our connection, which I thought was cool. It's also cool because me and Sam played for the same soccer coach.
Really?
Yeah. So my
I remember this. I remember this.
My
talked about
my high school soccer coach was Dean Joseph, and it's funny because Dean then became the soccer coach at Brandon High School when Sam was the head football coach and the athletic director there. So it was just like a really crazy connection and just a small world of things. Because who would have thought that like I would end up here in Mobile with this job covering UMS right, and Sam Williams comes from Mississippi to be the head coach of this job, and like it's just a crazy string of things. Like if you put it up on a whiteboard with some the strings and the clips, like that's what it felt like. But such a cool way to start out the season, and for you and I, that was kind of a week for us to get our feet underneath us.
And it went well.
It did. That was a really good week.
And I think week 2 we followed that up with probably one of our favorite interviews, right? With
we went out to Clark County for their matchup with Leroy.
We
and
had Chandlo and Jason Massey out there.
Chandlo and Jason Massey.
I'll go ahead and say, so when we were planning this one, I was so hesitant originally to do, because originally it was just you doing the interviews. I was hesitant about it because
Yes.
I didn't trust myself to be able to talk football. And I'll be honest, I really, it was Chandlo that changed that for me.
I was about to say,
because when I talked,
He's great.
when we talked, and like I knew this was gonna happen, where I was gonna get emotional, because his passion for like creating the experience,
sure,
Yeah.
was very, very evident, and I could have talked to him all day.
Yep.
about
He was
it.
incredible. He really was. And that was also like a rainy game.
Poor
We're-
Jason
Yes,
Massey.
poor
Jason
Coach Massey was
Massey.
like, ugh.
We're literally underneath the tent, and it's the four of us, and the rain is coming down, and it's like it's getting pulled up on the tent, and at one point, I guess the weight of it, like the water just comes down and goes right down Coach Massey's back,
Yep.
and you never would have known.
No, there
He
was just a
he was
steady stream of water going down his back for
it
like
was
5 minutes.
It's like the dam broke, and it just went down his back. And afterwards, I was like, Coach, I'm sorry. I mean, you could tell as soon as the interview ended, he was like, just like kind of moved and dashed
Yeah.
out. I was like, Coach, I'm so sorry, but you would never have known during the interview. And I was like, you know what? That probably comes from his military
Yeah, no,
background.
that's what
like,
I'm thinking.
he's been through much, more high pressure situations. But I just thought that he was an absolute trooper for putting up with us through that interview and the rain coming down. But just such a cool story between those two.
Yeah, and
and
that's-
getting to go out there. That's the farthest we've ever gone for
Yes.
Big Friday Kickoff.
Yep.
We really pushed the envelope this year with that.
Yeah, and it was a great story, and we really wanted to go for that story, so I think that's why we went there. And it was also like, okay, I'm comfortable with this because we have a great story to talk about, and I mean, it just sold itself. It was great.
It did. Yeah.
Yep. Then we went to Daphne the next week
Oh.
for their matchup with MGM, correct?
Yes.
And that was just you're like from Fairhope, so Daphne's like your biggest rival.
Yes.
So like to go out and have the experience with them.
But this is the thing, and this was kind of the band week.
This was one of our best band weeks.
It really was. We got to do a lot of cool stuff with the band, especially during the 3 o'clock that week.
Yes, and the Daphne High School Marching Band, first of all, their head director, Jamar Jimis, first of all, he loves Foxden and loves this, and I thank him for it so much, and I'll give him personal weather briefings all the time. Because, yes, Fairhope and Daphne, it is the biggest rivalry.
Yep.
But there is such a connection between our bands that it lives on even in this today. And I was like, I know how they rehearse. I know where they rehearse. We've got a huge opportunity here. And this was doing the 3 p.m. It was like, oh, how are we going to make this work? But I knew that they rehearsed right at the end of the day.
Right.
Not everybody does that. Also, Daphne's campus, their band field is close to the stadium, very close to the stadium. So it's like, it's a rare opportunity. So we got to go in early. I got to see a lot of my friends and people that I know on the staff there, that they're teaching and do all their stuff. And it was nice for me to get to see them warming up because I don't get to see them. But we got video of that, used it all. And then we did our last live hit at 3. Got to interview their drum major. They have a great drum major team, talented students. And we did that last hit while they were doing their full run. And they had
was
no
so
idea,
good.
too, that we were on during that point. And they did a great job. They were literally learning their closer. Like they show just been finished or very close to finish, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. But that was just cool to get to showcase them. They did amazing. I remember them coming out after. And by the way, Daphne had done the 6 a.m. radio interview before, because I forget which station it is, but they do 6 a.m. radio interview. They always bring the band
Was
out.
it WNSP?
I believe so. I'm
Probably.
not sure. But there is a 6 a.m. call time radio interview that those kids did that morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did that. And then they did Big Friday Kickoff with us. And,
And
we're
then
just
they had the game. You know what I mean? So like
a long
wow.
day for them, but it was great to showcase them. And, I was happy. And thanks to the Daphne High School band for having us out and letting us do that, because and I want to do that again. I want to do more with that. Now,
Yeah.
we don't get that opportunity with everybody because not everybody rehearses at 3 p.m.
Yep.
And not everybody, but to be out at rehearsal, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, I think we just had such a great week out there, and it's always cool to get, Kenny King, get to sit down and do an interview with him, and just the experience that comes and with him, and playing at Alabama, playing in the NFL, being a Daphne alum. I think he's just a cool story. And then we also had, I'm trying to think, did we have 3 or 4 players join the set
we
that
had
week?
4.
It was EJ, Kingston Pham, and JaVale
Fredericks.
Yeah, we had them.
Did we have Malik Franklin too?
Maybe. We had a lot.
We had Dominic Pham, Edric Williams, C.J. Gardner,
CJ Gardner.
Oh, yeah, it was CJ.
and
I'm-
JaVale Fredericks.
Yeah, we had a lot
Yeah.
of kids join the set that week, and I think that it's so cool when these high school kids have to go live with us, and when before they're coming up, we're we're going over the questions with them, and we're like, hey, this is what we're gonna ask you, and this is what we're gonna ask you, and it's so cool to see them have their moment.
Yeah, because
You know what I
it's
mean?
their first. For some of these students, this is probably their first TV interview,
Yeah.
possibly of many in the
Yep.
future if they
Yeah.
keep going.
Yep.
Because a lot of these kids are committed, are going to go play at the next level. Some of them SEC schools, D1. It doesn't matter. You got to get comfortable with doing the interviews and doing these type of things. And I think it's cool that we get to highlight them and give them the opportunity to brush up on speaking live on camera. Because
Yep.
I know there's a lot of pressure. We do this every day, and I know for me, I still get nervous.
Yeah.
I still have moments where I'm like, holy crap.
Well, there's always a pressure. There's
Yeah.
always a pressure to it, and it's for some it is a lot
Yeah.
to be put into an interview situation, but a lot of them handle it really well. You just we were able to get them comfortable,
Yeah.
and when you get them comfortable, that they can just talk, and it was fun. We had a lot of great interviews.
Yeah.
I do also want to shout out. We had the cheer there too, and they stuck with us for I think a good majority. I'm looking through the notes.
I think
a
we had
majority of the hits.
varsity and JV,
Yes,
and then
we
we
had-
had a big group of
Yes.
the cheerleaders that came and joined us, and
And that always helps. That helps
and I
so
feel
much.
another funny thing, I don't know if people know, but when they're standing there, some of them are just spiriting for a little bit, and they're having to do this the whole time. And by the time, as soon as the camera, they're like, all right, you're good, you're clear. It's a big, everybody, the
Yeah,
cheerleaders
and-
every time.
And sometimes, some weeks, you may have heard on air, Nick will just cue them
Yeah, Nick will be
by
like, "Go!"
yelling at them and
30
telling them to go.
Because, our photographer, Hayden Height, was typically doing the job of
Yeah.
4 people.
Yeah.
So
Literally, every week.
just teleporting everywhere. That poor man, love him to death.
Running the camera, making sure the band and the cheerleaders are set up, making sure the lighting's right, making sure the mic check's right. I mean, it is literally him being the one-man band out there. That is, I shout out to Hayden for being able to do that each and every week, because that is no easy feat.
But that was where my goes came from. I was like, he's busy. Go!
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. So, the next week we also pushed the envelope a little farther again. Week 4, we went out to Citronelle.
Oh.
This is the Grillbillies week.
We had some of the best barbecue.
Yes. First of all, we went to Citronelle. It was the first time I'd ever had gotten to go to that stadium. I was shocked at that stadium.
Yeah.
So nice.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
their
Beautiful
turf, too. That turf
facility.
is new. But the thing I liked about Citronelle is, while we were out there, people kept coming up to us and
Yes.
talking to us. And you know
Yes.
what I mean? And I love when we get to go out and do that, because it was our first time going out there
Yep.
for Big Friday Kickoff. And, yeah.
This is the Grillbillies week. I mean,
Our
that is
very- yeah.
this is the first time we did any kind of tailgate food on the show. They were nice enough to bring it out there to us. Hayden Height got to eat it on air with you guys. Nick, we had a funny behind the scenes story. Me and one of our directors like to give Nick a lot of crap because he's got all these ribs and brisket and everything sitting in front of him, and he goes for the mac and cheese first, which we thought was a weird choice.
Listen, sometimes I think I have a little kid's brain
Right.
sometimes, and but everything was so good.
Very good.
And for those that don't know that situation, the Grillbillies restaurant is located just
right behind the high school.
behind the high school, and they said that they get super busy. during football games, of course, and they're kind of a cornerstone of Friday night there. And you said you had your stories of you got to go, you got to go, got to go.
Yeah, me and Hayden Height went up there 2 seasons before. I was doing a story up there, and I asked the coaches, because their offensive coordinator was the former head coach at my high school. And I was like, all right, coach, like, where do we need to go eat? Him and head coach Jason Rowell. I was like, all right, where should we go? Because, I mean, we're up in Citronelle. Like, this is good. I know there's got to be a good place to eat, like a good old place everybody goes. He said, you got to go to Grill Billy's. It's, like, right here behind the high school. So me and Hayden went, tried their ribs. They were so good that I bought another rack and brought back to the station so that everyone could try them. So, like, Robert's familiar. He had some ribs when I brought him back that time. So that's why that week I was like, we have to do something with Grill Billy's. Like, we have to have... I've been dreaming about these ribs for 2 years now. We have to do this again. And so when I reached out to them on Facebook, they were all about it.
Oh, yeah.
They came out for the 3 o'clock, and and they came out there early and hung out with us for a little bit, and they went live with us during the 3, and then came back at 5:30 and brought. And when I tell you they brought us a spread,
Yeah, it was heavy, and there was a lot of stuff.
so much. It was an absolute spread, but so good.
Yeah, I think
everything I dreamed about.
when I ate
was
one of the ribs, I remember it was on TV. I pulled it off, and the meat actually fell off, and
Off the bone.
And I was like, oh, and it was just so good. What game did I have after that? I'm trying to think who Fairhope played that week, because I feel like I remember being like, oh, after that. Maybe it was when I got back to the station.
Yeah.
But like I was done.
Yeah.
I could not handle any more food, and we brought a whole bunch of food back to the station. Thank you, Grill Billy's. That was a great week.
Yep.
Yeah, we had such a good time week 4. Now, week 5, we went out to Mobile Christian, and I think that this was a really cool week because that was the week that we got to interview the guy that does the play-by-play.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that was
That's
great.
the week that we went out there, and that was a cooler aspect. Like, that's the thing about when we go to these places, we're trying to find out, okay, what is unique about your school?
Something unique. Yes.
Maybe not just like it's not just unique that week. Like what makes your program unique in general? Like who's somebody that we can shine a light on that maybe everybody else wouldn't know? And you're actually the one that Robert that found this guy. And
yeah, they have a cool setup over there. They live stream all their football games, and he does the play-by-play for him. I'm having a hard time here. I want to make sure I get his name right.
Do you still have your notes from that week?
Yes. All right. So
Mobile Christian. That would have been week 5.
Yeah.
Would've
Let's
been one of the
see
last
here.
weeks.
We interviewed him at the very end of the show.
We can scroll up. Hey, listen, there's a lot
I
of
don't know
notes in
why I'm
here.
drawing a blank on his name right now. I feel so bad. Because it was such a good interview, too.
Joey Adams.
Joey Adams.
Joey
Yeah,
Adams.
that's exactly who it is. And now that you said it,
and he was a great interview. I mean, you all could have
Fantastic.
talked to him for like an
if
hour.
we could have had, like, I would love for him to
Yeah.
come join the podcast
Yes.
and actually talk to him again.
And because he is one of those people that knows the history of the program,
Yep.
essentially. And you always you have those people in your schools where like, okay, they know how this school has been forever. They know how this place has been. I remember I asked him about like the campus and how it has evolved over the years, because it's a really nice and compact campus. Whenever you have that, it's always good. So it was a great conversation. And those were the kind of mini stories that we do try to bring out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think that was a great week. I'm trying to think, was Mobile Christian playing Jackson that week?
Yes.
And that was actually like a decent game.
was.
Like we were kind of shocked, and then Mobile Christian went on to have a nice little playoff run. And I think whenever we got to talk to head coach Charles Lawson, like he just talked about the difficulty of the numbers. Like when they're Mobile Christian, made the jump to 4A and being a 4A team and playing against teams like Jackson, like Mobile Christian really doesn't have the numbers player-wise compared to what Jackson and some of these other 4A teams have. And that's something that we really did get into and that we discussed during Big Friday Kickoff. But then to see them go on and have a nice playoff run, I think was really, really cool. So yeah, we just had a really good week out there at Mobile Christian. The next week, we went to Theodore.
Who played Fairhope?
Who played Fairhope, and we thought that this game was going to be all Theodore.
Yeah.
And Nick, you were there for this game. First of all, let's talk
That-
about.
Go.
I just thought that what's funny to me is like we didn't know this at the time, but this was going to be Steve Mask's last year with Theodore. He did end up retiring at the end of the season, but like seeing him riding around on his golf cart, doing his thing, making sure everything's taken care of.
He was the sweetest to us.
Yeah.
And but that is the most funny. He has his golf cart. Man, it was comfortable.
Oh, yeah, he was. I mean, just lean back, one hand on the steering wheel. Steve Mask is one of my favorites, and always such a great interview, and it was really cool to get to sit down with him, and we didn't know this at the time, even though we kind of had a feeling based on media days. But this is going to be the last time that he'll sit down and be the head coach at Theodore and sit down and do an interview with us. So, that was kind of a way to cap off like a great career and a great season for him. But then that was also such a good game for you.
That was honestly that sticks out as a memory.
Yeah.
Like that was such a fun game to watch, and not just because Fairhope won, but it was like. It was really entertaining, and the plays there were big plays in that game, and
I mean, it was entertaining if you're a Fairhope fan. It was 31-7.
Well, but it was also so unexpected.
I was so prepared to like y'all literally prepped me to be like, oh, this is gonna be,
well,
rough.
we're just basing that off. Like, I mean, week 1, Fairhope plays Spanish Fort and gets beaten. And you're looking at Spanish Fort. Spanish Fort had a down year, and you got a team like Theodore, who ended up being the number 2 team in 6A Region 1.
Yeah.
So you're seeing Fairhope, who got, opened up their season getting beat against Spanish Fort, another 6A team. And if you're just comparing, you're like, okay, well, what are we going to see? And Fairhope had not really played anyone at that point.
Yeah.
That was the turning point for Fairhope, in my opinion. And I think it was also a turning point for Theodore, because they're like, holy crap, we got this loss. Like, we got to really kick it into high gear. And then for Fairhope, you're seeing them, they're like, oh, we got this win over a, talented 6A team. Like, and then Fairhope went on the run that they went on. So I think that was a very defining point as we were basically smack dab in the middle of the season for both of those teams. So that was one thing that was really cool to me about week 6 and being there, to experience that for both teams. We literally got to look at a turning point for 2 programs in the regular season.
No doubt.
So that was week 6. Now we talk about week 7. We went out to St. Paul's.
I love going to St. Paul's.
I love going to St. Paul's. I love their cheer coach, and she's just sweet as can be, and she always has the cutest outfits.
Yes.
Like, she's always dressed up so cute in like her St. Paul stuff. And but I think that my biggest takeaway from when we went out there, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, the interview that I had with Ham Barnett.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I remember this.
So I interviewed head coach Ham Barnett, and Robert is, okay, so we wear our earbuds, like our IFB or whatever. We call into the show, and that's how we get cues, and we know where we're at in the show and what's happening, whatever. I'm sitting there doing the interview, and I think this is one of the ones I did by myself, the coaching interview.
Yes,
I think I interviewed him alone. And I'm sitting there, and I'm talking to Coach, and I'm asking my questions, and the time for Robert to tell me something is while Ham is talking. So that way, any coach is talking, that's the time for Robert to give me something in my ear. Like, typically I have my own questions written up, but if Robert has something that he thinks it's worthy of asking, he'll tell in my ear, like, hey, ask Coach about this, or ask him about this. And same thing for Nick when Nick started joining the coaching interviews. So this question, while I am interviewing St. Paul's head coach Ham Barnett.
It's a great question.
I mean, I'm locked in. Coach is telling me something really good. I believe we're talking about Tank, who's an absolute superstar.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there listening to Coach, and Robert in my ear says, ask him if his real name is Ham, or something like that, or what? I don't know. I think that's what you said.
Yes.
Ask him if Ham's his. Ask him if Ham is really his name. And that threw me. I'm in the middle of like a serious interview with a coach that's about to go head to head in a region game with Gulf Shores. Like, this is an important game that St. Paul's needed to win, and it completely threw me.
I couldn't quit being a journalist. I mean, I had to get to the bottom of it.
This is what I deal with.
And I could not, in my head, I'm like, do not laugh, do not, serious, lock in, Emily. And then at the end of the interview, because I honestly, as soon as he said that, I looked at Ham, my face probably told. Ham was probably so confused, like, why is she looking at me crazy? And at the end of the interview, after we're clear and we're off air, I'm like, Coach, I'm so sorry if I looked at you crazy, but my producer was in my ear and said, to ask you if Ham was your real name. He said, Ham is my real name. It is short for Hamilton.
And there we go. That's
there
all
we had
I
an
needed.
answer.
That's all I wanted to know.
But, like, at that time, I don't, like, almost, I didn't want to be, like, rude or disrespectful or, like, ha-ha. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just, like, hold on. I'm learning about one of the top recruits
Yeah.
in the state, Anthony Tank Jones. Like, I don't, not that I don't care that Ham's name is Hamilton, whatever.
Right.
But, like, there were bigger fish to fry at that point. So.
Well, you know, I wanted to get to the bottom of that.
I know, well, and we did, and we got the answer off air, and shout out to St. Paul's, and we did have an absolute blast out there. That's another school that really turns out for Friday
Yes.
nights, and
Yep.
we had fun. We did some cool things during the 3 o'clock whenever we were like in the middle of the field with like
Yes.
the stands behind
They
us.
have a nice field too.
Yep.
So.
They do. They have a beautiful field. It's a real grass field. It's not turf, which is like a fleeting thing in high school football. So yeah, I just think we had an absolute blast out there at St. Paul's, and that was actually a really good game.
It was.
That was a game that St. Paul's was up for majority of it, and then Gulf Shores fought back, and then it ended up being close, but St. Paul's got the win
Yep.
in that one. So really cool week in week 7. Then we had week 8, which was one of the most special weeks, in my opinion. We went out to Baker.
Gosh, it was so windy that day.
It
Yep.
was windy that day. We almost lost the tent. We're like back in the end zone, and the tent almost flew over the fence and went into because there's like someone's backyard right there.
Yeah, and they launched fireworks from that backyard. I
Yep.
learned.
Really?
Yes, when Fairhope played Baker.
Interesting.
Skipping ahead a few weeks, and Baker won.
Yeah.
After Baker won, there was a dude in that man's yard launching fireworks.
They must have a good relationship.
I
with-
guess it's because I don't know, but anyways, it's an interesting setup, and I guess technically that is a somewhat newer-ish. I mean, not super new.
the fireworks.
No, the field itself, the turf
Oh
field.
yes, the turf and it's new, and their new jumbotron,
Yeah,
which
which was
looks
really
so good.
nice, by the way. But yeah, we were able this week, and we talked a little about it earlier. This was a amazing situation to put together.
Yes. The Eric Scott, first year head coach at Baker, Derek Scott, who was then at the head coach at Foley, twin brothers,
Yep.
who have been on the road to their coaching journey started at a very early age. They knew that they wanted to be head coaches, and then for them to have this opportunity, Eric gets his he had been the head coach previously at another school. I can't remember if it was BC Rain.
Was it BC? He was at
He was at
Foley.
Viger. He was at Viger. He was at BC Rain. He had been at Foley with Derek. There's a lot of overlapping.
there is.
They've been at a lot of places together.
Yep.
But this was the first time that they were head coaches at the same time at 7A schools in Region 1. You don't hear of that happening
Yep.
anywhere else.
Yep.
Maybe like brothers, but identical twin brothers. It was such a cool experience. They had a lot of families show up
Yes,
for
and I
that
thought
game.
that was really cool.
T-shirts were made.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just such a cool opportunity. And also the way it happened, we didn't know if we were going to be able to get both of
Yep.
them for the interview. It was only Eric for majority of the interview. And then Derek swooped in at the last minute, and we brought him in. And it was just, that was a very, very special moment. And, it was special for them, special for their families. And it had been something that, it was kind of like a cap on a career that they had both worked so hard to get to that point. And then also something I want to mention since we're talking about this game, Eric Scott was named Coach of the Year in 7A.
Yeah. Yep.
From the HSAA. So
Congratulations.
congratulations to Eric Scott. In his first year at head coach, took Baker on a playoff run, and they were so talented. They were region champions for the first time since 1989.
Yep.
And that was such a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Especially for a Baker team that went head to head with MGM to take down MGM to be region champions. So, yeah, that was. I think you were a little frustrated with us whenever we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna grab Derek in," and you're like counting us down in our ear.
It was a tough timing situation,
It was.
if I remember.
That was a hard one. But
It was.
we got through it. I mean, there were worse timing moments. I can't remember the specific week, but there was one week where you two just were not listening to me, and
Well, we
I'm
couldn't
sitting
hear
there
you.
There are times.
trying to get you all to your spot, and you're just kind of meandering over in front of the camera.
What
and I'm like,
week
hey
was that?
guys,
What week
the
was that?
Open is starting.
That was St.
And-
Paul's. That was St. Paul's.
Yeah.
Because
That
we
was
were
St.
over there.
Paul's.
We were over there talking to Tank and the players and Anthony and
Yeah, and so what had
Hayden
happened?
Fincher.
our signal or something
Sure.
The
dropped.
IFBs went out.
Yeah.
And we had no idea, and then it just came back
Yeah.
magically. And there were other times where we lost
Oh, yeah.
all audio
Oh,
from
completely.
you,
Yep.
and we were just like, you know what?
Just
We
This
went
is
with the
showbiz,
clipboard.
baby.
Yeah.
This is
We
what
went
you do.
well, we went with the clipboard, and
Yep.
it worked.
Yep.
And we
It
also
worked.
went with like our feeling of
Yeah.
like, okay, like we've been on and we can't hear him, and poor thing. I know he's sitting there like, oh God, this is because you and I, when we get to going, sometimes we can't be stopped.
Yes.
That's
you know?
true.
So
true.
that Baker was one of those weeks where Robert told me like rap. And this is one of the rare occasions where I was like, yeah, I'm not listening. And I grabbed
Well-
Derek Scott. I said, come on, coach. I
Yeah.
was like, I mean, what's it like for you? But I'm glad that I did it because sometimes, like, those moments when you break the rules a little bit is when you get really good television.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this is the thing about live TV. You plan for something, it is never going to go
Right.
exactly according to plan. And this was an interview that we really, really wanted, but we didn't know if Derek was going to get there in time from Foley. And he finally did, and we had him, and he was right there. And I wasn't going to miss out on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So shout out to, you know, the people above me that were probably like, that hit went too long. Like, I understand, but that was a special moment, and,
Yeah.
and I felt like it deserved, you know, to be had. So sorry, Robert.
Hey, listen, it happens.
But that was a good week.
It
That was a
was.
good week for us. We also the cheer. Everybody came out there
Yeah.
that week.
Yes.
That was when the mascot was out there, and I asked him. I was like, "Can you breathe in that thing?" He could breathe out of his eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a funny week. The next week, probably one of your favorite weeks. Week
One of my
9.
favorite weeks, also the week that I was the most stressed, I'd feel like.
Is
because
this Fairhope?
We went to
Yes.
Fairhope.
Yes.
We went
This
to
is-
Fairhope.
And so, I can talk about this. Our stadium is not on campus.
No.
Yep.
It's at Volanta Park.
Which we should have thought about.
We did not.
And that makes getting people to the stadium to, you know,
To do interviews,
Do
like
anything.
band, cheer, coach, players. I
Yeah.
mean,
it is an act of like trying to create a miracle because they've got their after ritual. Like, luckily, I was able to tell the band and get the band ready for it months in advance. We had it months in the schedule that this was going to happen. Thank goodness, because we were able to actually kind of make something out of it.
Yeah. We didn't have players that week, did we?
No.
No,
We didn't
it
have
was,
players.
but we got Coach Carter at the end, which I'm glad we did.
Yes.
And he was
the-
running.
yes.
Poor thing.
I forgot my AirPods that week.
Yeah, we were
which
having
was
to share
crazy.
the same.
The car was dying.
The car died.
Oh my
yes.
God, the car.
So the Fox 10 Storm Tracker had a little oopsie, and the
Nick left it on.
I did not leave it on, and that's what got me frustrated.
That was the beginning of a very stressful day for
Was
you.
that the day?
Was that the day that you had to go to Atmore?
I can't
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
That was the day you had to go
Yes.
to Atmore, and then we had to go to Fairhope, and then you had to do
Yes.
band stuff after.
So, So I started my day in Atmore because we had a sponsored event. It was a fun thing with Southern Tire Mart, but it was drive to Atmore at 7:00 in the morning, very early. Then I get here, and I had the truck on the entire event at Atmore, and it's an inverter battery thing. Pulled it back, and I guess somehow I left a piece of the truck on because there are multiple things to turn off.
Well, I'll tell
So
you what the somehow was. It's you didn't turn it off.
So I go in,
It
do
was
my.
panic. It was panic.
We transferred to a different vehicle.
2 vehicles.
Came out. The signal at Volanta is not great.
No.
Right.
No, it is not great. But we made it work, and honestly, so that was also that was senior night.
Yep.
We were also a little trapped in there for a second.
Yeah.
Like they had to move, like for us to get out, they had to move the metal detectors and like the tables and everything
Yeah.
to like let us out.
Because it is that one thing, but that was senior night.
Yep.
And I actually had the opportunity with the band that night to do some of the photography for the band.
Mm-hmm.
And like I have had the time of my life editing those photos.
Yeah.
Because that was such a great night. I was tired. I was so tired.
No,
but
I
it
know.
was that was one of ended up being one of the best days
Yep.
ever because
was a
it was
good
just
one.
it was just good high school football.
Yep.
It was just great high school football. I want to mention that we wanted to talk to Mr. Charlie, who is the
cannon guy.
keeper of the cannon.
Yeah.
Sadly, we couldn't talk
Yeah.
to him. That was another coordination thing. It was tough to coordinate everything. But
Isn't he your neighbor?
yes, he lives very, very close to me, and he has the most amazing Christmas display that you will ever see, which includes a pirate ship.
That makes sense. Yeah, the pirate ship is cool. Like, that is one of the things that you
Yes.
don't get on every campus. It's very cool.
And it's just it's a great place, and I loved doing that. Though I know it was crazy and difficult, but I really did love that.
It was a good week.
We did. That was a very, very
And
good week.
it was funny. It got to got to be with the band in our last hit, and it was. I'm also an instructor with them,
Oh yeah.
and I thought it was so funny. While they were standing there, they were
Yeah.
all locked in, and
I
I'm
couldn't
like.
even tell if those kids were breathing.
I was like, it's
just-
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. This is a relaxed
Right.
environment, and
I was like, Nick, how mean are you to these kids? Like, you're like a drill sergeant out there.
But-
There was like any moment you're gonna be like, drop and give me 20.
Yeah.
but like I can't no. But just that was fun, and I'm glad they got the chance to
Yeah,
do that.
no
and
doubt.
It was good.
That was a very, very good week. We had a really great week the next week as well. We went out to Leroy,
Yeah.
which
Another amazing.
just this is another thing is like we really like, and I said it, we really pushed the envelope with like how far we
Yep.
went this year, and we were lucky enough that we had college football on Fox because it gave me the opportunity, like for us to get to go far and me to get back
Yep.
and get ready for the show at 10. Still, in some cases, go shoot a game
Yep.
after. And but Leroy is one of those ones where it's about a little over an hour from the station.
Beautiful place to go to. My goodness, it was a beautiful drive.
Leroy is the definition of small town football.
Oh yeah.
Like you pull on the campus and you just kind of go right on through
Park right on
and
the side
park
of the
right on
field.
the side and you're there. And I just have such a special place in my heart for Leroy. Any opportunity, like the drive does not bother me. Like I don't mind. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter how far we go. Like I will drive. If Leroy was 2 hours, I would probably drive up there. Like it is just such a special place. And I know it stresses out the people above us when we're like, hey, we're going to Leroy this week, or hey,
Yeah.
we're going to Clark County this week, or somewhere far. I know that it definitely like stresses out because you got to get the people to get up there, and that is kind of a haul. But this was one of my favorite places that we went, and it's not just because they fed us too.
Yes.
Yes, they did. Because there was bees, and I was having you can tell the people like I was losing it a little bit.
There were a lot of bugs. Well, first of all, at Fairhope there were a lot of gnats.
Yep.
At Leroy there were like bees and other insects that looked like they had stingers on them.
Right.
Like it was like so we were like, does somebody have a fan?
A fan, yep.
Because it was so bad. Like I'm not typically bothered by like any bugs, but I
Right.
mean they were in my face, in my nose, and it was very uncomfortable. But somebody walked up, one of the coaches walked up with a fan, and we were like, thank you
Bless
thank you
you.
so much.
Because before we went live, I was like, the bee was like coming for me or landed on me or something, and I was like, like I was losing it. Like
Yeah.
I was being loud, kind of screamed a little bit, and Nick was like, you cannot do that when we're on air.
Yeah.
And I was like, Nick, I was like, I can't control it. I
Yeah.
felt like my soul was leaving my body. So I'm allergic to wasps. I got bit when I was in like elementary school, middle school, had a near-death experience. So there's trauma there. So like I know it's a bee, it's not a wasp, but like anything that stings, like my soul, like I will pick up a snake, a lizard, a frog. I mean, I think I might go toe-to-toe with a scorpion. But like wasps, bees, anything flying that stings, I can't. My soul left my body. And for Nick to sit there and look at me and be like, you cannot do this on air.
Yeah.
I was like, you better hope to God it doesn't land on me while we're on air because I couldn't. Like, I absolutely, thank God to that, shout out to that coach for bringing us the fan because that was such a big help. And then, so once we got past the bug situation, then Mr. Joshua comes over and he says, because this is the thing, head coach Chan Lowe enticed us by saying, you come out here, we might have some sausage dogs.
Sausage dogs.
Deer sausage for you or something.
Kaneka dogs.
Kaneka dogs. He said we'll have some Kaneka dogs for you. And we talked about it at 3. We're like, yeah, we're supposed to be getting some Kaneka dogs. Well,
we got more than that.
We got way more than Kaneka dogs. Mr. Joshua comes over. And he's like, I heard y'all talking about it at 3, like y'all were going to get some Kaneka dogs, but I've got some deer sausage, and I've got potato salad, and I've got ribs, and I've got this, and I've got that. And me and Nick were like, oh, my God. And Robert's back in the studio, like, listening to this all be said, and he's like, clicks a button. He's like, yeah, y'all will be bringing me back some of that.
Brought me nothing back.
Well, I also had to go shoot a game after, and Nick had to go to Fairhope, and, like, there was just so many. I feel bad. I'm sorry we didn't bring you anything.
It's okay.
I'm
it was
sorry.
good.
But
I'm
it
sure
was
it
like
was.
those ribs, they contended with Grillbillies.
Yeah, no, it was great.
I'd love for them to have a cook.
That was like my first time like eating a substantial amount of deer sausage, but they had the cheese inside it.
I know.
And it like you broke it and the cheese came out, and I was like, and it was good.
Oh my God, we had an absolute blast out there at Leroy, and then also there were 2 former head coaches that like came out there on the
that was because it was a whole event, and everybody in the community was there. The mayor was there. I mean,
because they had just had their 600th win the week before, and it was just like a huge night. Like I think the crowd was bigger than what it is on normal. It's already big on typical Friday nights, but even bigger on this night. We had 2 former head coaches over there sitting to the side that we got to just talk and cut up with them for a little bit off camera, and then getting to do our live hit from that special like. How would you describe that? What was that?
It's like an observation tower essentially over the field, and that was one of my favorite interviews that we did.
Coach Lowe was just so fun to talk to.
Yes. And
the whole time before he even came up there, though, he was like, "Can I get y'all anything?
Yes.
You want a Powerade, water?" And we got red and blue. We're like, "Yeah, Coach, I'll take a Powerade." And I'm like, "Blue, please." And Nick's like, "Yeah, I'll take a or Dr. Pepper, Diet Coke, whatever." Coke.
It's Christmas, so I'm on Coke Zero now.
There you go.
But he brought you whatever we asked for. I mean, they brought it to us, and they fed us, and they took care of us, and I mean, Mr. Joshua kept coming back from that concession stand, giving us food, and we just had. That was probably one of my favorites. I love everywhere we went. I really do. And Citronelle's probably a close second. But like, just when you go up there, you almost feel like you're part of their family.
Yes.
And we're just these random people that talk about, we do stuff on TV for a living. Like, we go out there, you feel like family. And that's why, like, Coach Lowe is also 1A Coach of the Year. And just shout out to him. This is his first
Deserved.
year.
Yep. Amazing. And the connection that we get with them, it's great for me as a meteorologist because now I understand this place.
Sure.
Like, I understand the people that are there.
Yeah.
And
you're not just talking about like a random area up there you've never been.
Yeah, no, it is like I know what's up there now, and this has been the greatest benefit of doing this. When you're in weather school, and whether you're in broadcast weather school, they always say you've got to understand the place that you're working. You've got to understand. I understand Baldwin County and Mobile County because I've lived here my entire life. Just being honest, I don't get out to those places. So to get the opportunity to is game-changing for me, and to develop those relationships with those people that are out there and see what it's like out there, loved every second of it.
Yep.
Yeah,
No doubt.
That was probably one of my favorite weeks, and we just had so many special ones this season. And then the next week, it was Halloween, which we just had a really, really cool.
This is a cool concept, an amazing concept that we had. This was the Battle of Murder Creek.
Out in East Bruton. We'd never been to W.S. Neal before. This was our first time going up to W.S. Neal. and
Did a great profile on the history of the Battle of Murder Creek.
There was a lot.
Yeah,
There was a
it
lot
was
of history
cool.
research in this one, and another this completely what I was saying of like this is great to understand
No doubt.
the place because you have Murder Creek that is out there and the history of the naming of Murder Creek, and to learn all of that and gather all of that to be able to talk about it on Halloween. It was just a great one.
the history of the rivalry.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it was that there was just so many elements to this one. And we talked about it for seasons before about wanting to go up to Bruton, East Bruton, which is another. It's a hall, and we finally got the opportunity to go up there for this rivalry, and that it was you can tell these two teams do not like one another. It
And-
might compete with the Daphne Fairhope. It might compete with that because that's the vibe that you got. The signs.
No, it's geographically it is so close.
Because it used to be, they were combined.
Yes.
Like these two communities, it was just Bruton and it was just T.R. Miller. And then 20 years later, they decided, okay, well, we need to break off. If there's too many kids, we need to break off and have another high school. And that's when W.S. Neal became a thing. So it became like, well, you're not part of us anymore. If you ain't us, you're against us.
Yeah.
I mean, this rivalry just became so big, and it's one of the oldest rivalries. And it was just really, really cool. Also, the fact that it fell on Halloween.
Yeah.
I think it couldn't have been set up better,
Nope.
for that week. And it was also, W.S. Neal beat T.R. Miller for, the first time since, I can't remember how.
Yeah, I can't remember. The T.R. Miller's owned that series for the most
quite
part.
a long
But,
time.
yeah.
And this was a year that, W.S. Neal had a really, really good year and played very well against T.R.
Yeah.
Miller that night. Got the
I'm
win.
looking at the notes from this, and it was 59-23 to T.R. Miller for
Yep.
leading the series. Now,
Yeah,
24.
W.S. Neal got that win.
Yep.
So, yeah, we had a good week out there for Halloween. Trick or treat.
we took our time coming back.
Yeah, we
we
did.
stopped at the Jack's.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we
You were
stopped.
not
Yeah.
pleased with us,
Yeah.
but
We stopped and got some food. Yeah, that's another long drive.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then we got towards the end, and then we headed into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And for round one of the playoffs, we went to St. Michael.
Yep.
That was our first time out there. St. Michael also has a relatively new stadium. I think this is their second season in this new stadium, the Nest.
Yep.
And we went out there, and this is when it started to get darker earlier.
yes, this was after the time change. And
Yes,
it
this was our
dark.
first one really after the time change. And it was. Didn't it start to get chilly around this time?
Yes,
But we had really cool sunset shots.
that was the one. I think that was probably, in credit to Hayden, that was probably one of the prettiest visually Big Friday
Yes.
kickoffs we had done. The setting I love, again, one of my favorite parts of Baldwin County.
Yeah.
It is so beautiful there, and because it's open fields, and it was. You get a nice fetch of wind out there. That's
It
the one?
rained.
Yes.
Then we
where
had
it
a pop-up
rained.
shower and it rained.
Yeah.
Well, because I think that was a severe weather day. I think that was I think there might have been a marginal risk or something. There would be it was like a thunderstorm risk inland. I remember being like, oh, this is a situation. But
Not a good hair day for me that day.
yeah, no, I
No.
don't think it was for anybody. But I don't know if I was holding together. That was a great thing, and I enjoyed talking to the players. That the players were so well spoken.
They were fun. We cut up with them before
Yes.
too.
Yep.
We cut up with them before.
And a great interview with Phillip Rivers, who's now with the
Yes.
Colts.
I feel honored that I even got to do
Yeah.
that interview.
Max Preps put us on their page.
I didn't
you
know
see
that. No,
I didn't know
Max
that.
Preps put our interview with him on their page on socials.
I had no idea.
I
That's
just saw
awesome.
it yesterday. And this is the thing, I don't know if people know this, but back when Brock Purdy got hurt with the 49ers, there were some rumors going around that that Phillip Rivers might go, step in for the 49ers. And I think that was maybe the initial, okay, I might kind of miss playing a little bit. So when this opportunity came that
Yeah.
Danny Dimes gets hurt and he's out for the rest of the season, Riley Leonard is struggling with a knee injury, and they call in Phillip Rivers.
Yes.
And a unique thing about Coach Rivers is like the offense that he had been running with Gunner and with this team is what the Colts offense does. So he's more than familiar with what this offense looks like. So I don't think the hard part will be stepping in and being able to learn the scheme and doing these things. I think the hard part will be that his 44th birthday was what, Monday?
Yeah.
He just turned 44 years old. He's a grandfather.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a cool thing because like his older kids have gotten to they got to experience like dad playing. You know what I mean? And some of his younger children, because he does have 10 children. The younger children don't know a world in which Daddy still was playing football, and now they get to experience that, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that we got to we're interviewing, and it's you don't want to fangirl in these moments, but it is a special experience.
I thought, and this is the thing, like I said with Coach Lowe and all these other coaches that we talked to, but I saw it with Coach Rivers as well. He had that, I want to build a program.
Mm-hmm. And
there was a fire.
Yeah.
And he, there was a fire, and he was very, very, very proud of it.
And that's how he played. I mean, he
passionate.
was
Passionate.
So passionate. He also, do you know that like he does not cuss?
Yeah, but he's one of the best trash talkers.
Yes,
Apparently, on the
I
football
I
field.
very quickly learned this.
Yeah.
And he does it without cussing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Phillip Rivers mic'd up is one of my favorite things, and I would love for us next season to be able to like follow along and like mic him up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he is honestly so passionate. Absolutely,
Yes.
one of the most passionate people that like his love for the game.
I loved his no Zoom when he came back
Yes.
and started his press conference, and you could tell he was giddy. He was
Yeah.
like a
Yes.
kid in a candy store to get back. I hope everything goes well, and I hope we get to see him because, and also, you can tell that there are limited, and I've heard this said in other interviews and stuff, there are a limited number of people in the world that have that level of passion. When it comes to COVID and like that time period, just kind of unfortunate, or there was that period. So to be able to have that opportunity to come back, it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
The only thing that I can compare, like watching him in his press conference and the way he talks to us and like how he talked to us in that interview, I actually, so Noah Moss was my player of the week after that game because Noah Moss broke that rushing record and had such a big night. So I went out there the following Tuesday for player of the week and interviewed Noah and interviewed Coach Rivers. And something that I will say about Coach Rivers is like, he's very passionate, but he's very like down to business. Like, all right, you come in, like you can give the award, like rah, but then like we need to get back to practice. Like, you know what I mean? He's always very, scheduled and meticulous. And so like when we go to do player of the week, typically it's very, very quick. We get it done, we get out of their way so they can get back to what they're doing. And this week that we went out there after Noah had that big game and then for them to get that win, and we go out and talking to him, and just the way he talks, like his energy after those games, like he is just as much fired up coaching those kids and being on the sideline and watching them be successful. Like the way he talks about the game, the way he talks about his team, talks about his players. It's the same way, like as excited as he is to go play for the Colts, he was just as excited to lead his 4A team to a semifinal game and all the, you know what I mean? Like that win over Jackson was such a big week for them, and then the big week for Noah and getting to see Gunner. I mean, your son have these experiences like,
And also his son's on there. It is a different level of parental excitement. It is not even self-motivated at that point.
Yeah.
It is complete. And I remember I like when you interviewed it and you saw that in him, you're just like, he's a cool guy.
Yeah. No doubt.
Got his ducks in the right places.
Yeah.
To be doing that. I'm excited. I do want to also mention it's so cool that right now you have Phillip Rivers and Riley Leonard, two Fairhope connections at the Indianapolis Colts.
And I'm pretty sure they've done some form of workout stuff together before.
I'm not sure.
They're familiar with one another.
But that's just cool.
Yeah.
I mean for those two to be together, honestly, it's a great experience for Riley. I know he's going through a bit of a knee injury right now, and I mean he's still a rookie, and like for him to be thrown into this, I think it will be beneficial for Phillip Rivers to be up there and Riley getting the chance to learn from him, because I mean Phillip Rivers is one of your favorite quarterbacks of all time.
Yep.
So I mean we're just getting to see one of the coolest stories in NFL football right now, and I think another thing is like Phillip Rivers is a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. When he goes and plays with the Colts, like that will push back him getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame to be nominated and go through the process. That will push him back 5 more years.
Yep.
He won't get the opportunity to be put up for it until 2031. And this is a man that is 44 years old that literally is like, Pro Football Hall of Fame, gold jacket? No, I'm good. Let me go sling the football around a little longer. Let me go show these kids that I still got it. Let me show them what's up. So I just think that that's a really super cool thing. And for Riley to get to learn from one of the greatest to ever play the game. And the fact that we have that, like 2 of those people from like down here in our area, I just think that's so cool. So I'll stop chatting about Phillip Rivers.
It's
I know we love him to
exciting.
death.
Yep.
But after that, we went to McIntosh.
Yep.
And we actually had like so much fun out there.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had never been to McIntosh before. It is also one of those ones a bit farther off, a smaller school.
That was Red Devils and Demons.
Red Devils and Demons.
We had such a good time out there, and that's another community that really shows out for Friday nights. I mean, they were big time.
And really appreciates our coverage. So
absolutely
that was one of the reasons we wanted to go out there is they've listened to this podcast before.
Yes.
They obviously watch Fox 10, so definitely wanted to reward them because we didn't get out there during the season. But this was a huge year for them, first time back in the playoffs since 2012. So yeah, it was nice to be able to put a spotlight on McIntosh, one of our bigger supporters around here in the area. So it was a good week. Unfortunately, they lost this one. This ended their season to the eventual state champs.
Maplesville, who won the whole thing.
Ended up beat Leroy in the next round. So yeah, it was all in all a good week for being able to go out there and cover McIntosh.
It was also cool because while we were out there, speaking of since they played Maplesville, we also had former TR Miller head coach Brent Hubbard. I mean, walk right up to us and gave me a hug and said hello. His son, they moved back to Maplesville after he retired from TR Miller. He's a Hall of Fame high school football coach. Moved back to Maplesville. His son is Eli Hubbard, plays for Maplesville, had a really good game that night, and then also he was the MVP in the 1A state championship game. So it's just cool experiences like that when we're out here and we get you never know when someone's going to pop up and you're going to get to see somebody and share a conversation. We also had a guy come up, him and his wife, they had Big Friday Kickoff t-shirts on, the shirt that Robert has on right now.
Which I realize, I don't know where mine is. I think it might be on Matt Barrentine's desk. I think
it probably is.
I think that was the one. I think I left it there at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't think Matt's realized that it's on his desk.
Right.
Oh, bless it. But yeah,
so I think that's on his desk. Anyways.
we had a fan come out with the Big Friday Kickoff t-shirt on, and that's just so cool that we've gotten to a point, like our people are watching us and supporting us and wearing the merch. So it's growing and growing. And then
oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
is it about McIntosh?
No. I was gonna. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was one of our that was technically. Well, no. After that, we went to Viger.
Well, this was gonna be. I was gonna segue into Viger. I was gonna say, and then our final week was one of our other really good band weeks where we got to take the camera through the band while Nick narrates the tubas and the everything else. A great way to end the season with Viger.
That is a great band program, and there are different styles of marching band, and they are an expert in a different style and something that I don't get to do a lot. It is like going. They do things that we can't, and it's so good. And it's such a great program. They're a disciplined program. I got to talk with some of their instructors on the side of the field while they were rehearsing while we were doing Big Friday Kickoff. They were back there working. They
Yep.
said, we're on the field, we're going to work.
Yep.
And they had that same level of like the pursuit of excellence that they're
Yeah.
going for. It was great. That's a great band. It was good.
Yep.
We
No
had
doubt.
such a good. I think there's no better way to like kind of close out the season than to be there for that game. What a night!
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of a way to cap things off. And then, of course, you and I went to St. Michael for like our last. You know, we did the streaming thing, and we always have a blast out there, and we talked about that. But so many schools that we got to go out and experience. I think it's 14 altogether. 14 schools, 14 weeks. Each location welcomed us out there with open arms. All we battled through weather, we battled through good days and bad days, and I mean technical issues,
Yeah.
whether it be with audio or mics or cars, vehicles, and just man, we really made the best out of this season. And then also, we can't forget to talk about like game of the week. Dacian going to each game of the week and highlighting that, and then Hustle and House Sherrick.
There was one week where Dacian went up to Auburn for the Auburn and
Yep.
Yeah,
South
did South
Alabama game
Alabama and
too. I was looking
Auburn.
at the notes.
I mean, Dacian going out and covering the biggest game for game of the week that week, and then that adds so much. His extended game of the week previews and everything he did, and then Hustle and House Sherrick going out and to each location and bringing us his games. I mean, and Hal's funny because he's notorious for like really like I love him when he's out there in his visor and he's doing his previews, and then whenever it started to get colder, sometimes he has his beanie on
Yep.
and. I love the way that he, like, Hal really highlights, like, the pageantry of Big Friday Kickoff. Like, I love watching Hal's, like, highlights and the way that he does things. And it's so cool to watch, like, the difference and, like, the way that, like, Dacian does a package and the way that Hal does a package and the way they tell stories and just, like, it's so cool on Friday nights to see just all the different ways that we get to highlight high school football.
Yeah,
And-
and it wouldn't be what it is without the communities and the players and the teams and the bands and everything else that welcome us to their locations. And you know, in some cases, I think we add extra stress to them on
Oh, we
already
do.
stressful
we
days.
do. Trust me.
But you know, they still allow us to come there and still treat us well and still kind of roll the red carpet out for us, you know, for lack of a better phrase. And so we'll keep getting better. I think next season will be even better. We'll come up with new stuff, new things to do. And yeah, I think sky's the limit for Big Friday Kickoff.
Absolutely. We're always pushing the envelope a little further and further. But yeah, I think just to cap it off, like we just had an absolute blast doing this. Nick, I so enjoyed doing this
Yep,
with you.
no
Robert,
doubt.
I mean the three of us, like our weekly meetings, Dacian, Hal, David in the booth, Amber, Ryan, I mean Genevieve, all the people behind the scenes, and Hayden Hyde, of course.
And the rotating photographers around Hayden Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
yeah.
Bo and Guy, like and Jacob coming out and helping.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people behind the scenes that don't get enough love, and we would not be able to put on this show and do this if it were not for all those people behind the scenes that make it so special, and all the work that you've put into the digital footprint this year. I mean, making sure we had everything on the website and on
Yep.
Facebook and on the Gulf Stream, and just the effort that you put into pushing that and getting that out there so that people got to see all the stuff that we do and getting to see their kids and getting
Yep.
to turn on and go find that. Like, that's so important too. So, I mean, a heck of a season.
Yeah.
A heck of a year.
This has been the most entertaining football season I've ever been a part of, because it's the first time where I've gotten to experience all these different atmospheres
Yep.
and to see everybody's different way of expressing their passion for the students and expressing their passion and letting them live something that is bigger than themselves. It's a great and inspiring thing, and to get to showcase that is a complete highlight
Absolutely.
of my short little career that I've had so far.
Yeah, it's so rewarding.
It
It's
is.
so rewarding. I mean, I was a huge like college football person before I got down here and got this job, and then like getting to cover high school football, I've absolutely fallen in love with it, and just it's a completely different way of seeing sports and like the way that we get to do it and the way that we get to cover it. So I'm so grateful for us to get to do this and have
Yep.
this experience, and I can't believe it's over.
Yep.
This
Well,
is
I
know.
it. for 2025.
We're planning on next year.
We're already looking ahead to next year, and how can we push the envelope even more? What can we do that's cool and different and spice it up,
Yep.
even more? So we've got not less than a year to plan. I mean, we got to start getting it together, ready for come August. But
First meeting in a few weeks.
Yeah,
already like another meeting.
Yep.
But so yeah, we'll have our Player of the Week, our Player of the Year banquet coming up mid-January, and of course we'll still continue to follow along with coaching carousel and transfers and reclassification and all those things.
Yeah.
But that kind of wraps up the 2025
That's right.
Big Friday Kickoff high school football season. Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to do this with you this season.
You as well.
Absolutely.
Good job to both of you for doing this podcast. This is great content. I hope all of you at home are enjoying this, because this is just the best package of high school football coverage that we could possibly put together for y'all. And I hope you enjoy it, because it is so fun for us to do.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, Emily, wrap us up.
Well, I guess for the last time this high school football season, thanks for tuning in to the Big Friday Kickoff Podcast.
The podcast is not going anywhere.
No.
This isn't the last time you will hear the podcast, but for the football season.
But for the football. Football is over.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that people know that we're not. The podcast will keep going.
Excuse me. My thunder. Let me rephrase. Just kidding.
All right, wrap us up.
Anyways, thank y'all so much for joining us here on the Big Friday Kickoff Podcast. The 2025 high school football season has come to an end, but we will see y'all again. He's meteorologist Nicholas Herboso. I'm rhyming too much over here. He's Robert Restano. I'm Emily Cochran. We will see y'all next week.